Welcome to Eat Your Peas, the podcast about doing what's good for yourself, even when you don't feel like it. I'm Lily Rachels, and I'm serving up bite-sized growth principles to help you build an intentional life. Welcome back to Eat Your Peas. So earlier this week, a account I follow on Instagram called Stoic Reflections popped up with this quote by Eckhart Tolle. It says, "The primary cause of unhappiness is never the situation, but your thoughts about the situation." This is so true, right? It's never really what's going on for us. It's all the stories that we're creating about what's going on. It's not about what our partner actually did. It's about the story we made up about the reasons behind why our partner did what they did, or why our friend hurt us, or why we didn't get the job, or why nobody likes us. And it goes on and on and on. And we become our own worst enemy with all the things that go on between our ears and our mind, and the mind monsters that are constantly just creating lies, essentially, that we're starting to believe. And we'll end up having a physiological and an emotional reaction to something when the problem might actually be very simple and nowhere near as profound as what we're making it out to be. So if our primary cause of unhappiness is related more to the stories we're telling ourselves and not the reality that actually happened, what do we do, right? Like, how do we keep ourselves from going down the rabbit hole? So these are 4 things that help me when I'm dealing with that, when I'm making up a story about a situation and I need to get back to the reality of what's actually going on in life. Number 1, I take a timeout. Now, this timeout is structured, right? I don't just decide that I'm not going to do anything for 5 minutes. No, I do something intentional. I move my body. So go for a walk, do some sun A's and sun B's in yoga, right? Like do 25, 50 push-ups. Do something where you're physically going to exhaust yourself just a little bit. Because what happens is we get back into our body, we get grounded again, and we work off some of that nervous energy, anger, whatever the angst is that's going on inside of us. This can also be a great time to take 5 or 6 really deep breaths, maybe for like a 4 count in, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4, and so on. The second thing I do is I write about it. Now, this is kind of an A and B for this. I want you to write everything that comes to mind at first. Get all of the ugly stuff on paper. Get the mess out, the emotions, the facts, everything. Once you've done that, get a clean sheet of paper and only write the facts. Only things that you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that occurred. These have to be undisputable, that if someone else was there and witnessed what happened, they would be writing the exact same thing down. Now, the third piece of this is to compare and contrast. I want you to look at your feelings and look at the story you made up and ask yourself, and you've got to get really brutally honest with yourself, is what this mess is creating in my head line up with what actually happened? Like, where does this meet reality? And where am I adding? Like, where am I embellishing the story for myself? And this is where you argue your case. And again, this is great to do with paper if you need to. Sometimes I even talk out loud to myself to do this, or maybe you have a trusted friend or therapist or someone that you can discuss this with. But this is where you get into it, and you have to argue with yourself a little bit and say, how am I going to support this? Like, if this is the story I created and these are the facts, do the facts create what actually happened? And then the fourth and final thing we're going to do is choose our new feeling. So I want you to pick what you want to feel instead. So you have your story, you have your mess, you've listed off your facts, what actually happened. You've gone back and forth with yourself to see if the actual reality of the situation supports the story you made up in your head. And now it's time to decide what you actually want to feel. A great thing you can do here is create a mantra around that. And it can be something as simple as, I am secure and happy in this relationship, or I am at peace. Whatever it is for you, I want you to tell yourself that over and over again whenever you find your mind starting to run away with itself and create stories around something that has happened. Because remember, sometimes the stuff that we make up in our head is far worse than what's actually going on in our life. Go eat some peas. I'll see you next week.